on women in leadership, breaking barriers, and empowering change. We hope you had a restful evening and are ready for another day of insightful discussions and valuable learning.
Absolutely, sir. It was an incredible journey exploring the topic. So let's continue our discussion and hope everybody enjoys it. Our first speaker of the day is Ms. Ananya Ghosh, an accomplished academician, researcher, and communication skills trainer found in both corporate and academic settings. With a strong foundation as an HR executive, Ananya has seamlessly professional skills to educational institutes since 2017. Currently a PhD scholar in management at St. Xavier University, Kolkata, Ananya holds an MBA with a major in HR and a minor in marketing. Since June 2020, Ananya has been dedicated to training students and working professionals in communication skills, spoken English, and personal grooming through online platforms and self designed classes.
Next up, we have none other than Advocate Janvi Sharma, founder and chief mason of Women in Data Privacy, a not-profit organization which is dedicated to advancing privacy-related policy, research, and education for women by women. With a background in law, including a master's in law and postgraduate studies in cyber laws, along with CTDPO certifications, Janvi leads initiatives in privacy advocacy and compliance. Janvi ji is also an accomplished author, contributing numerous research papers and articles on privacy and data protection. She is based in Mumbai and extends her influence with offices in New Delhi.
Moving on, we have Ms. Anamika Yaduvanshi, a Delhi-based life coach and motivational speaker who firmly believes that with a positive mindset and a never giving up attitude, everyone can achieve their life goals and build their dream lives. Over the years, with her desire to bring change and her lively spirit to live early day every day to its fullest, she has also helped hundreds of people reach their full potential and achieve success in their personal and professional lives. She is internationally acclaimed for her workshops that blend a potent but a rare combination of creativity and analytical thinking. She is a member of the coveted International Coach Federation under the aegis of the Certified Coaches Alliance and Symbiosis Coaching USA. Her ICF credentials assure numerous traits of ethics and professionalism.
Next up, we have none other than Ms. Rajna Ganatra, who has over 2 decades of experience in marketing, analytics, research, and business development in various verticals that is, technology, healthcare, FMCG, and e commerce. Rachna is a well known consultant in the digital marketing industry and currently the founder of Remarkable Art Enterprise, which consults with multiple SMEs and brands as a growth advisor. Rachna has headed the strategy and business development for Social Beat as a consultant, alongside as an influencer in private limited and retail scale, a well-known digital marketing agency with offices in Chennai, Bangalore, and Mumbai. She was also part of the founding core committee of the organization. Besides this, Rachna is a facilitator for the hashtag I Am Remarkable program by Google, an initiative empowering women and underrepresented group about various topics. She has won multiple awards and has multiple accomplishments in her workplace and beyond.
Next up, we have Dr. Shivangi Sinha. She has done her graduation from KIIT Law School, KIIT University, Bhubaneswar, Odisha, BBA LLB Honours in Corporate Law. Completed her post-graduation from National University of Study and Research in Law, Ranchi, LLM Masters in Corporate Law, and her PhD from Bharati Vidyapeeth, New Law College, Pune. Shivangi has also worked as a legal expert LEDX and is also a SME at TCS IN. She is presently working as an assistant professor and faculty coordinator of the ADR cell, ICMPS, the Incubation Cell and Moot Court Society at BVDU NLC Pune.
Last but not the least, we welcome Ms. Niharika Datta, who is a dynamic and accomplished professional with a robust background in the learning and development sector. With a keen focus on driving organizational growth through strategic training initiatives, Niharika has carved a niche for herself in the industry. Currently serving as the lead trainer at LearnerCon, Niharika is renowned for her innovative approach to skill development and her ability to inspire and empower learners. Niharika holds a master's degree in education, which underpins her deep understanding of pedagogical principles and adult learning theories. Beyond her professional commitments, Niharika is passionate about mentoring aspiring trainers and sharing her insights through workshops and conferences. She is an advocate for leveraging technology to create engaging and effective learning experiences, and her contributions to the industry have been widely recognized and appreciated. We are grateful for all of your presence, panelists, and we eagerly anticipate your valuable insights and contributions in today's conference. We would also like to inform all of you that the HR team will be conducting polls in the chat box throughout the session. We encourage active participation from all attendees. Now, before beginning our discussion, I would like to request all attendees and my fellow speakers to switch on their webcams. Attendees, especially, again, just as an additional note, in case we do find any webcams off, the attendees won't be certified at the end of the event. Thus, moving forward, I would like to invite Ms. Ananya Ghosh to commence her speech and share her valuable insights with all of us.
Very good evening to everyone. I hope I'm properly audible. Thank you so much. Firstly, I would like to thank SK Associates and Group for bringing up such an innovative topic. And when we are talking about women in leadership, I guess this is men empowering women. So if I'm talking about Shravan sir, so actually this is men empowering the topic of women empowerment. So this is very interesting, definitely, because most of the times we say that about this inequality or not getting equal rights. But definitely, there is a lot of contribution men are also having for women empowerment, which I feel. This is my personal feeling also. Now, I have attended I have seen actually the last sessions also, which were very insightful, and people have given their personal journeys, and definitely those were too much. I would say that those were very much inspiring for us. So I'm a very, I don't have too much to say about my own entrepreneurship journey, though I want to be an entrepreneur in future. I have started in a very small form, so I just want to focus on one topic today. A lot of things has been already talked about, like the different famous women entrepreneurs in India, the barriers, the challenges, the government policies, and there are legal people were also there in the last sessions who have talked about what are the legal formalities and all. So a lot of things has been talked about. I just felt to talk about one thing, and which I'm interested, and I'm taking some interest also for the last few months, which is rural entrepreneurship. So if we talk about India, so it is a country where definitely the rural population is more. Okay, so I just want to highlight few things about rural entrepreneurship, few examples, and some of my own observations from those examples. So I would like to share the screen and start my speech. Just let me know whether the screen is visible. Um, I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Sorry, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, yes. So I would love to start with a beautiful quote, which I also believe given by Swami Vivekananda, the great spiritual leader, and definitely a person who has contributed in the freedom movement also, a great leader, of course. So he has said that definitely there is no chance of welfare of the world unless the condition of women is improved. And just like it is said, that it is not possible for a bird to fly on one wing. So definitely we have to empower both men and women. Now, the next thing is why then we are talking about women in leadership. We have to talk about both the genders in that sense. Then why we are talking about women in leadership, and a very interesting topic, that is breaking the barriers and empowering change. So two basic things, there are a lot of points to highlight here, but two basic things I felt I could highlight, I might highlight here is the inherent qualities of a leader. Women are having the inherent qualities of a leader, like they are already managing the household, they have lot of capabilities which are sometimes not identified. So the second point is sometimes they themselves do not identify this point, sometimes the society do not allow them to identify these points. So I believe these two are very important or major reasons for which we are talking about women leadership. Now I would like to highlight some things which I have got. Definitely these are secondary sources of information which majorly I've got from the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation reports, and I'm not going deep into it. These are majorly related to the
Ananya ji, I believe your audio is struck. You can just check once.
okay, I'll do one thing. Sorry.
You're audible now.
Is it properly audible now?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is audible now.
Yeah, it is Ananya. Perfect. You may proceed.
Okay. So may I continue with the presentation?
Yeah, sure.
Actually, I'm not able to hear right now. Just 1 minute.
Okay. Am I audible, Sonam?
I have to change the speakers.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Am I audible now, Ananya? Sonam, why don't you just type out a text in the chat box telling Ananya to continue? She can't hear us, she can read us most
Uh,
probably.
Actually, I'm not able to hear others. Just 1 minute. I'm very sorry for this. Can I disconnect and connect once again?
Sure. No issues. Rima ji, if I'm audible, and you can just share a call for our audience by then. Am I audible now, Ananya?
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible. Am I audible to you?
There is some problem because I'm not able to hear others. Hello?
Am I audible now, Ananya?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
fine.
sure.
It's fine.
You may
Yeah,
continue.
very sorry for this interruption. Okay. Please let me know if I'm not audible at any point. So these are the figures which I can observe, that it has been observed like 13.7%. Like if you see this 8 million out of the 58 million establishments which are run by women entrepreneurs in India, which is around 13.76% of the total number of establishments. So this is a focus on women entrepreneurs in terms of establishments. Possibly these are not considering all the online businesses and other things. So this is especially with focus to the establishments. So these are different figures. We have figures about the different states, different sectors where we can see women entrepreneurs. So I would just highlight this last point here. The other points are definitely important. The last point I would like to highlight here, which I found interesting, the total number of establishment owned by women entrepreneurs. And if we see out of this total number, then it is 65.12% of the total establishments were located in rural areas. So if we look at this figure, it is more than half of the establishments or half of the women entrepreneurs establishments are located in the rural areas. So in that sense, the rural entrepreneurship of women is not very weak. We can say that this is quite strong in our country. Now strong has different other aspects also, strength has different other aspects also. So from here I was seeing the study few months back. From here I had an interest to see about rural entrepreneurship, rural women's entrepreneurship especially. So, as it is said by Mahatma Gandhi, I do definitely, we do believe in this, though there is a change in the scenario over the last few decades. Still, our country has majorly this rural areas or villages. The soul of India definitely lives in its villages. And if we cannot develop the villages, if we cannot talk about rural development, then definitely that is an incomplete kind of development. So this is kind of a political scenario where India ranked among the countries with the highest participation of women in local governance, where around this also we can see is this is around half of this electoral elected by local government representatives are women. 44% of elected local government representatives are women. So this is an interesting figure, but this is not in terms of entrepreneurship. This is in terms of leadership, of course, because today's topic also focuses on that. And 80% of this is an interesting fact. This is not a figure. This is actually an interesting fact. 80% of rural women are engaged in agriculture because that is the main source of income. The rapid feminization of Indian agriculture has led to the growth in the number of women farmers choosing to become entrepreneurs naturally as well as strategically. This line was especially very interesting to me, that when why women entrepreneurship is more in the rural areas, which sounds very absurd that women entrepreneurship is more in the rural areas of India. Why does that? Because most of the times they start their business with something which is their livelihood, either it is farming or cattle farming or raising vegetables or different other things, which is already their livelihood, which they are doing in their day to day lives, and that they are converting into their business. So that is why this is something, this is a strength also in case of rural entrepreneurship, which I believed, which I found from the studies. I have few examples out of a large number of examples. If we go through different sources over the internet, and different government sources are also there, I just tried to highlight five examples of five women out of this so many examples. And the reason of citing these examples is to find out something. There is some observations also for all this like women entrepreneurs. So maybe many of these names, many of you have already heard, some of you might not have heard yet. So this might be interesting. Sushma Gupta, who is a women entrepreneur from Bihar, she started her business of mushrooms. Okay, so the interesting thing is her villagers, her neighboring people called her a doctor. She was not a medical doctor, neither a doctorate or a PhD holder. So she was actually this very interesting term, which is agripreneur, like entrepreneur plus agriculture, something like that. So what she did, the interesting areas I have highlighted, her journey is very long and very elaborate, of course not possible to say all the things here. I have tried to highlight she started her business of mushroom crops. The interesting thing was she started cultivating mushrooms in 2013, and gradually she started making products like flowers, jams, jellies, pickles, etc. Especially the mushroom health tonic, which became very famous. And she earned the title of a doctor because this health tonic was actually helping the people in the villages to cure many diseases, maybe, and they were calling her as a doctor. The interesting part was that she converted the wastage of mushroom crops into her business. So she found a problem that these crops were being wasted, these were not properly used. She then found that rather than using mushrooms only as vegetables in our daily dishes, she tried to find out different products which can be made from mushrooms, and this turned into a successful entrepreneurship business. So I have one observation from here. For every woman I have made one observation. The observation I have made here is identification of a problem and turning it into a business. I guess that is a quality of an entrepreneur, that if you can identify a problem in your society and turn it into a business, then it can be very successful. So this is one observation I have got from here. Second is about Savita ji from Bihar again, who is a dairy entrepreneur. So she started her business with cows, and mainly these were foreign bred cows. So her main challenge was the health of these cows. She was very much struggling that in the Indian scenario, she was not able to maintain this foreign bred cows. Then she started cultivating healthy diet for cows. She focused on healthy diet. Focused on the cultivation of fodder or the different food which is being given to these cows using different kind of technologies. Of course, I have not highlighted all the elaborate things over here. So she faced challenges. She found out the solutions for that. Today she produced around 150 liters of milk. She has also inspired other villagers in this kind of business. So my observation here is she has faced challenges. She has converted them into opportunities. So I guess this is another true quality of an entrepreneur, which is converting your challenges, your barriers into your opportunities. So this story also seemed very interesting to me. The third story is about Leena Sharma, who is from Himachal Pradesh. All this definitely you can get through many of the websites and government websites also. Her story is she started natural farming. Actually, she wanted to be a teacher. Her passion was to be a teacher. But after seeing the scenarios in her village, she found that natural farming, she grown interest in natural farming, and she studied also without using machines or artificial fertilizers, without like using of organic things, organic fertilizers. She started natural farming. So she is now growing different kind of crops like peas, garlic, coriander, etc. And the major highlighted thing here is by using natural methods without using any costly or artificial methods. So she received a lot of awards for this from the government. And if we can see here, if we can highlight here, as per my observation, there might be other observations from other people. My observation is she helped in reducing the costs, which is another again important part of a business, reducing the costs and inspiring business without much financial support. So in a country like India, financial support becomes a major barrier, major issue, and sometimes because of that many people cannot start their own business. So actually we have two kind of assets, we have two kinds of things which are required to start a business. One is our financial strength, another is our intellectual strength. So if we are low in our financial strength, we can use our intellectual strength and definitely can do some business or be an entrepreneur. So this was an inspiration from Leena Sharma. The next one is this actually is a very famous name. If you search this name on the internet, you can see a lot of articles written about her. She has done a revolutionary job. She is Nalaben from Gujarat, a woman who started her entrepreneurial journey at an age of 62, where people think of retiring, where people think of completing their jobs or whatever it is. She encountered many challenges, of course, in villages. Being an entrepreneur, that also a women entrepreneur, is not an easy task, but she persisted. She was determined to be successful. She sold milk in the years 2020 and 21 for more than rupees 1 crore. And this is definitely an inspiring story. There are a lot of other aspects how she did this, long stories are there behind this. So I believe that we can overcome barriers of age, education, etc., if we have the right attitude, if we have the passion, if we really want to do it. Barriers are there, a lot of barriers are there, but many of them can be definitely overcome. Many of them can be converted into opportunities, which these rural women are showing us. The last one I would like to highlight here is a very famous woman from Gujarat whose name is Pabiben. And from a daily wage worker, she turned to be a successful entrepreneur. Right now, she is having her own website also. You can see her products, her articrafts, her crafts products, bags, and different other things in her website. If you check this website, you can see her products, buy from there also. So, what was her story? At an early age, she had learned embroideries and different other things from her mother, from her grandmother. And as we know, Gujarat is very rich in embroideries. There was one embroidery called rabari, traditional embroidery, which was getting obsolete. Because of different reasons, it was getting obsolete, and she wanted to save that particular art form. So she invented a new art form. She customized it and invented a new art form, taking inspiration from the old one, of course. And previously it was called Harijari, which later she named as Pabizari, as per her name. Okay, so it was named after her. So it was her discovery, it was her invention of a new kind of embroidery. She started in a very small way, getting works from traders and other people, and who would give them works. She would stitch for them, she would stitch for different occasions, like different marriage ceremonies or different occasions. And slowly she built up her own brand, which is by this name. And the very interesting thing is she has empowered over 160 women in her own community by providing them with the skills and trainings. So she has done two very important things here. One is safeguarding the art and crafts which are getting obsolete. Secondly, inspiring other women or giving employment, which is the major characteristics of entrepreneurship. So definitely the thing which I can observe from her, a lot of things can be observed, but obviously I can observe a passion, a love, a determination, a passion for doing something. She loved the work that she was doing, and this is another very important thing for starting a business, for starting something of our own. So all the stories are actually not only of entrepreneurship, these are stories of leaderships, these are stories of breaking the barriers. They had definitely large number of barriers, lot of barriers, but they have broken those barriers by using different kinds of their creativity, intellectual skills, and different other things. So obviously to be a leader, you have to break the barriers. Anybody who needs to be a leader has to break the barriers. That is possibly the common formula. From a few of these stories, out of a lot of stories, what I have found is if we have passion, if we have dedication, we can create the differences. So, it is not only theoretical knowledge, it is definitely the passion, the skills, the wish to do something that can make us a leader. So external problems and barriers will be always there. Okay, so this was the part of my presentation, highlighting rural entrepreneurship, a part of rural entrepreneurship in India. So I'd like to stop my screen share, and I'm definitely open for any kind of discussions.
I have a question, Ananya, though it's not very formal. As
Yes,
far as I remember, we met in some event previously offline, right?
right, right.
A conference, an example.
Yeah, Accelerate. Yeah,
Yeah.
Accelerate. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I was just getting it on a memory and I couldn't. Okay, no
Yes,
issues. That's fine.
yes. From there only I've known. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to invite all the participants to put forth their questions, if any. Participants, my fellow speakers, whoever feels, you may unmute yourself and just ask your questions.
I'm just interrupting one thing over here. Was my PPT visible or it was not visible till now? It was not
I
visible.
believe that after you rejoined, it was not
Oh
visible.
my God, I was showing the PPT. Okay, I'll just take
No
1 minute.
issues.
I'll not
Sure,
definitely
sure, sure.
because it won't be justified without the PPT. I'll just go through the slides within a few seconds, not the basic ones, only about the women. Yes. So this was about Shishma Gupta and the mushroom business. So this was the slide about her. This is about Savita ji of Bihar, who is a dairy entrepreneur, and that was a very interesting story for me. Also, I have tried to highlight the main points. I have already said that people have heard it. I just tried to show this through the slides, and at every slide, I have given one highlighted point, which is a quality of an entrepreneur, whether it is identification of a problem or facing challenges and converting them into opportunities, or reducing costs and inspiring business, which we get from Leena Sharma, or overcoming the barriers of age and education, very inspiring story of a 62 years old lady, just with the right attitude, of course. And definitely a true entrepreneur, who is Pabi Ben, uh, who has passion, love for her own culture. She has turned her own culture into definitely her journey of entrepreneurship. Obviously, okay, so these were the slides. I just wanted to show it because I was not aware of the fact that it was the screen was not shared. Okay, thank you so much for being
Yes.
patient here.
That was a great presentation.
Thank you so much.
Sonam, if you can just take over.
Thank you, Miss Ananya. That was a wonderful speech. And could you please share your email address in the chat box so if any of our audience have any doubt or something, can reach out to you directly.
Sure, I'll do that.
Now I would request Miss Anamika to commence her speech, please.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. I would first of all like to congratulate SK Associates and Group for organizing such an incredible event. And it has been a treat to listen to all the eminent speakers. I was active, I was listening since last 2 days, and it was really great to listen to their insights and a lot of learnings over there. And then I would like to express my gratitude to have been invited here as one of the speakers. Really grateful for this. Thank you so much for this opportunity, first of all. And then I'd like to just share my screen. Give me 1 second only. It's
Anamika,
taking
are
some
we
time
audible?
to open. So I'll just start till the time the presentation opens up. Okay,
Sure.
so women in leadership, breaking barriers, empowering change. Awesome topic. But I have a different perspective to present here. When I say women in leadership, it's not only women leadership in the business field. I would like to talk about women being leaders in all the fields, be it sports, be it academics, be it politics, leaders in all spheres of life. Because when we see leaders in different fields, then as women, as men, we get inspired that okay, fine, women can achieve this, it is possible for them. Because unfortunately, I would say this is the picture in the entire world, that there are a lot of fields, there are a lot of possibilities that women have not been able to touch yet, because it is considered that women can't do it. It is considered that women can't take that particular job, that particular career, because perhaps it's not safe for them, or they are not meant to do it and they are not able to do it, whatever those barriers are. But I believe that there has been any first woman who has been able to break that barrier initially? Do I have the can't share the screen? I think. Okay, all right. Okay, so I was just coming to it that I was talking about leadership, women being leaders in all the different spheres of life. Initially, if I talk about the ancient India, women had the right to get education, they had the right, equal rights, just like their men counterparts, men rulers. Although they were not allowed to rule the state, however, they were given the respect, the regard, the education, all everything was allowed. But slowly and gradually, as the Mughals came, then perhaps it is not noted anywhere in the history, but perhaps I'm assuming that because as Indians we wanted to protect our women, so they were not given the right to get education, they were not given the right to move out, they were given not given the right to express themselves freely. So I think because of that area, Indian women were left behind. Because if we talk about ancient women, women had the right to choose their spouse. Like we have heard of Swayamvars, we have heard of Gandharv Vivah, where women could choose and the family was not invited. So all that freedom was there in the ancient time. But if I talk about today, it's uneven. That freedom is uneven. Somewhere women have the freedom to kind of select their spouse, their mate, but somewhere in India, it is not considered that they can do so. Not able to connect? Sorry? Okay, all right. Me being a woman, I've been able to I've got this opportunity to help a lot of women manage their house, manage their work, because I run a program, work life balance, where I help women balance their work life and their self also, because at the very same time it is important.
Excuse me, Anamika. I
Yeah,
had a request if you can just switch on your
i'm
camera,
actually
please.
trying to I'm
Okay,
actually
okay, no
trying to
issues.
reopen the presentation, and it is again and again saying quit and reopen. So I am doing two things here.
Okay, no issues, no
So should
issues.
I
You may
just
keep
quit
your
and
video
reopen?
on, just
So
continue the speech.
should I just quit and reopen? Can I? Because I was just trying three, four times. I'll just quit
Okay,
and reopen. Just five
sure,
seconds it will take.
sure,
Okay. Sorry for this
sure.
inconvenience.
No issues, sure. Rima ji, if I'm not already pressurizing you, can I request another call from your end? Thank you. I only see five responses in return to the previous call. I suggest everyone participates actively. Yeah.
Gone again. Okay, all right. I think there is some issue again, but I'll just continue. So I was just talking about, and then the Asia, Indian women did have all the rights, but as Mughals came, then perhaps Indian were not allowed those rights, and then a lot of reformers came. They took this challenge to help Indian women, and then we saw that Raja Ram Mohan Rai and other people, they helped. Do this help with sati pratha, girl child education, and all those things were taken care of. And after that, it took lot of time for Indian women to come back on track, and itna time laga that it's really surprising that Indian women handle the finances of their entire house. But it was the first finance minister we got in 2017. We got independence in 1947, but we got a first women finance minister in 2017. So you can understand the gap that we took to for the women to come in that front, to take that seat, to deserve that, and to get that they are truly worthy of it. It's okay if it is not, I'll just do it from here. Okay, so I'll just play my PPT and I'm talking. You can see my video, but I can't see because I'm just seeing the PPT. All right, so now I'll talk about 15 firsts by Indian women who have made the nation proud. Although I saw something like that yesterday also, I believe. But here I'm taking women who are not very well known, and they have worked in different fields. So first I would like to take is Avni Chaturvedi. She is known as Sky Warrior. She is the first Indian proud woman to fly solo the fighter aircraft MiG 21. And this fighter aircraft is known for its highest landing and takeoff speed in the world. I don't know how many of you have seen this Janvi Kapoor ka movie where she was flying an airplane and aircraft, which was like she had to go through a lot of challenges for to be given that right to fly that fighter aircraft. So that's the kind of challenges that women have to go through, even if they get the education, even if they earn that position, then also they have to go through the challenges, prove themselves that they are capable. Next, I would like to take is Mithali Raj. She's known as Lady Tendulkar of Indian women's cricket. And when I say she's known as Lady Tendulkar, then I think that itself says that she was so much of capable. But unfortunately, Indian cricket is known for the men's cricket, and women cricket is not very well known in India, unfortunately. And then I'd like to talk about Mary Kom, and Mary Kom has been known as Miss Knockout, and there has been a movie on her also, and we have seen that how much struggle she had to go through to establish herself, even after her marriage, after her kids. Although in India it is said that after marriage, sports career of a woman is finished, but she took that challenge and she proved everybody wrong. That's quite an inspiration over there. Then I would like to talk about Saina Nehwal. Saina Nehwal is the first Indian woman to secure number one position in badminton. And then there's another fiscal scholar, Geeta Gopinath. She's an Indian American economist, and she was the first women chief economist at IMF, that is International Monetary Fund. And then Hima Das, she's known as Dhing Express, and there was an article about her where she told that she ran bare feet. She did not have the funds to even afford a pair of shoes. So that was the status that she had. But she has won IAAF World Under 20 Championships and made India proud multiple times. Then Aruna Sinha, I would like to talk about, the Mount Everest girl. Was. She did the Mount Everest summit with a prosthetic leg, and she has given a TED talk. It's there on the YouTube. Her story is amazing, truly inspiring. When you watch her TED talk, you get goosebumps. It's so much of struggle she had to go through, and how difficult it was for her to climb the Mount Everest. Then it's Kalpana Chawla. Why I've taken this, although she is a known face, but just see, she was an Indian, and she was an Indian women astronaut engineer. NASA took her, and she went to space. And I think it's a moment of proud that Indian women are considered that great, that capable. They have that much potential, that NASA took her in that event, and that she was a part of that wonderful team. That's really a moment of proud for all of us. And then I'd like to talk about Garima Arora. She is a very no, not many people know about her, but she was the first Indian female chef to be conferred with the Michelin star. Michelin star is an award which is given to the people who run good restaurants. So that's a different field, I would say. Then is Usha Kiran. Usha Kiran is the youngest female CRPF officer, and not just an officer. She was posted in the insurgency affected Bastar region of Chhattisgarh, highly sensitive area over there. Kavita Devi, wrestling queen. Kavita Devi is the first female professional wrestler of India to wrestle in WWE. Deepa Malik. Deepa Malik became the first proud woman of India to win a medal in Paralympic Games in 2016 Summer Paralympics. What happens is that, first you are a woman, then you get a tragedy and you lose your legs. Then as itself, in itself, it's a very disheartening position. In India, it takes a lot of courage to come forward and still participate in sports, and still be very faithful towards life, and go on and work for it and achieve what you deserve to achieve. And then it's a fantastic lady, Shanti Devi, truck mechanic. Not many people know of her, but she's the first truck mechanic in India. who made India proud. Being a mechanic, I think it's considered to be a man's job, but she broke that stigma. She broke that stereotype, I would say, and she's been working as a mechanic for 20 years now, more than 20 years now. And Deepa Karmakar, gymnastics is a tough sport. It's not easy to become a gymnast. You have to undergo a lot of injuries, and it's a very delicate sport, and you can get injured, and that injury could be such that your whole life can get affected. But Deepa Karmakar took that challenge, and she's the first Indian woman who made India proud by becoming the first Indian gymnast to qualify, just to qualify for Olympic finals. And then the Missile Women of India, Tessie Thomas, is the first woman who made India proud to head an Indian missile project. In Agni, she was heading that project, and she led the successful launch of Agni missile project. So many leaders in India, different fields, different cheeses which women could do for the first time. But why is it that it's uneven? Why is it that some of the women are able to do it, some of us still doubt ourselves, or some of us are not able to achieve it? Why is it that some of us are happy to be confined in the home because we feel that this is what we deserve, this is what we can do, this is the best for us, this is the most respectable thing to be, to get married, breed, and just take care of the family? But some of the women, they're creating histories like 15 women I listed. Although the list could go on and on and on and on, it could be never ending. But I think this unevenness is something which, it is very concerning, it's very alarming, that we need to take care, we need to address what is it that women, some of the women are able to make it big, some of the women are still strangulated in their homes, in their family responsibilities, or in the other things that they're stuck with. So I have just made like a differentiation here, which I'm sure none of us can you can see, but I can see the screen, so I'll just say what society can provide. What is it that society can giving us? Society can give education to women, it can give opportunities to women, it can give respect to women, it can provide security, it can give a support system, or any other kind of external help. All these things society can provide. But with these six things, can I say that this is the success thing, this is the magic formula, this is the magic recipe, that if every woman get this, she will be successful? No, I don't think so, because there are a lot of things that women herself can provide to herself and to other women around her. What are those things? Those are the, I would say, magic ingredients. If these ingredients are there, then the other ingredients which the society is providing, they can be very well taken care of. What are those ingredients that a woman can provide to herself and to the other women around her? First ingredient is, I would say, self belief. It is very important to believe in your own self, because what happens is that yesterday also there was a talk about imposter syndrome. We as women think that others can do it, maybe men can do it, maybe other successful men can do it, I can't do it. So that self belief is one first magic ingredient that every woman should have this in her to become successful, to become a leader, to break barriers. Because if you won't believe yourself as women, then nobody else will. So first thing is self belief is extremely important. Then I would say is resilience. See, as women, there would be a lot of challenges. Maybe, family pressure, maybe the societal pressure, maybe, the societal norms would be there. There would be a lot of challenges, lot of pressures, and everything would be there. But if a woman is resilient, that no matter what, I will make it big. No matter what, I'm born to shine. I will shine. In spite of all the challenges and failures, if women decide to shine, to become a leader, to break all the barriers, then that woman can definitely do it. Third is self-respect. As women, it is in our DNA, I would say, that to address to everybody else's area of respect, that we must respect our elders, we must respect our parents, our boss, everybody around us. But Self respect, I think it is a new concept, or I would say is a very less considered or thought about concept for women, because we think about others first and then about ourselves. But here I would just like to remind that, we should put oxygen mask on ourselves first and then on others. So first of all, respect yourself, because if we won't respect ourselves, forget about others respecting us. Then is prioritizing oneself without guilt. What happens is, here I'd like to quote a case study. I had one of my client, and she is running a successful business in Singapore, and she had a small child, and she was juggling between her work and her child and home, of course. Work home, and so
Excuse
in,
me, Anamika. Although
yeah.
your speech is extremely interesting, we have a time constraint. If you
Yeah,
could just
just
wrap it
five
up in
minutes
a
more.
minute.
Just five. I understand that. Thank you so much. Just 5 minutes more. Thank you for this reminder. So what happened was that she was juggling between home and work. So she had to do her self care. She had to go for her own gym. She had to go for her own medications and doctor visits. She would forget that, because she would feel guilty of attending to her own health, because she would think that that 1 hour or 2 hour that I'm visiting the doctor, I can just consult the doctor over the phone. I would waste that 2 hours and I can attend my child or my work in that time. But she was missing a lot in that guilt. So that thing I had to work with her. So she could understand that self care is important. Then other thing that as women we suffer is delegate. We find it tough to delegate work. We think that as women we can do it, and we'd like to do it, we are capable. So there's a lot of thought that comes as we need to prove ourselves. I don't think we need to take that much of pressure. We can delegate the work that's important. Create a personal brand is the sixth pointer. It's important. You yourself are carry yourself as a brand. That's important. Don't consider yourself just just your designation that you have. You are a brand. As a woman, you are a brand, and you have to carry yourself well. Take initiative to help other women. If women don't help other women, believe me, don't expect men to help women, because it is our responsibility to help other women. Then only we can support her, and by supporting her we are supporting ourselves. And self reflection is again extremely important, because if we don't reflect that what are the skills that we are lacking, what is it that I can add in myself, what is it that I can improve in myself, that is very important. If self reflection part, where is it that I need to work on myself, that is, you have to become better version of yourself every day. So self reflection is the magic ingredient. And then I'd just like to quote your Tory Bush, buckle up and know that it's going to be a tremendous amount of work, but embrace it. And then I would like to quote Arunima Sinha, the Mount Everest summit girl. अभी तो इस बाज की असली उड़ान बाकी है, अभी तो इस परिंदे का इम्तिहान बाकी है, अभी अभी मैंने लांगा है समुद्रों को, अभी तो पूरा आसमान बाकी है. Thank you so much.
That was a
Oh,
great speech, Anamika, and I do appreciate it. Although technical glitches do happen, I really appreciate it, and the case studies you show were very inspiring and would encourage many women as well as men sitting out here. Though I still believe we have moved quite beyond the primitive and conservative 1900s approach, and we have progressed a lot, especially from 2014 since the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign came out. Still, your examples do actually show extraordinary, inspiring stories, just like the one who climbed the Mount Everest with a prosthetic leg. That was extraordinary, actually. Thank you. And I would like to request you to share your ID in the chat box so that anyone who wants to reach you out can simply email you and reach out.
we'll do that. Thank you so much. Just curious, was my screen visible?
Yeah, it was
Oh
excellent.
my God. All right,
That,
brilliant. Thank you so
that's
much.
how I actually saw the examples on the screen.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank
Thank you. Now, further moving ahead, I would like to invite Dr. Shivangi Sinha from Bharati Vidyapeeth Deemed University to come and speech and share her insight.
Good evening to all. I think I'm visible and audible. Okay. So before I would like to, begin my speech, I'm just going to have a very generic discussion about women empowerment, and definitely coming from a law background, I'll bring about some of the legal statutes, and the law where we still need to function. But I just wanted to thank first and foremost SK Associates to bring us all together. And before giving you a thank, in a more formal way, I would first like to even thank the speakers, Anamika ma'am and Ananya ma'am, whom I just heard. I think they both were wonderful, and I'm really looking forward to the another speakers as well, because I think they have covered each and every perspective which this particular topic suffice. So along with SK Associates, I would also like to thank both the speakers whom I have already heard. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving up your input. So now I'll begin with my formal introduction and my formal speech. Okay, so today's topic, which we are talking about, is women in leadership, breaking barriers and empowering challenge. Okay, so good evening to one and all present here. My name is Dr. Shivangi Sinha, and I work as an assistant professor at Bharatiya Vidyapeeth, deemed to be University, New Law College, Pune. And like I said, that before I start with the session and I want to enumerate my thought about this topic, I would first really like to thank SK Associate and Group for approaching me for this conference, and thanks to the coordinator mainly. So, to begin with our topic for today's discussion, that is women in leadership, breaking barriers and empowering challenge. So, though it is a very generic, but it is a very vital point in today's discussion time. Now, if we start from the historical perspective, okay, women empowerment stands for the basic reason behind that every coin has two sides. Every point, every perspective have two connotation. So in the same way, this particular topic, women empowerment, also have a very big toll in our society, and our perspectives vary accordingly. So I'll be touching on both the pro and the con. So let's start from the historical time first. So women leadership in today's time contribute to the broader economic growth. We all know that. By breaking barriers, succeeding in various leadership roles. We have seen a lot of examples in our previous speeches as well. Women have created the pathway for others, contributing to increase the workforce participation, entrepreneurship, and even have enhanced the economic diversification. If we talk about the historical part of women empowerment in India, it has a long history which we cannot list here. Starting from Raja Ram Mohan Rai to Swami Vivekanand, etc., all have tried to abolish the nasty practices. Like initially we used to have sati system, child marriage. Okay, there were a lot of rentless working which was going on to uplift the women society in India. They were trying but failing, and then yet again trying. So empowerment today also refers to the policies and measures which are designed to increase the degree of autonomy, the self-determination in the lives of people and the communities which we live in, so that everyone can represent themselves and they are more self-determined. It is the process of both. I would say it is the process of self-employment. It is also the process of professional support to the people, where we have this sense of powerlessness, lack of influence. We are not able to recognize what are our resources, what are our challenges. So empowerment can be considered as a multi-dimensional approach, where a woman or a group of women realize and tries to fulfill all their spheres of life, their identity and their power. So it can also be considered as a process where we try to help people to control their lives through raising awareness, acting, working in a greater control. Okay, like for instance, we can even take today's conference as one of the best example, where we are trying to raise awareness that what women is, what empowerment is, and where do we stand. Okay, so empowerment actually is that feeling that activates the psychological energy to accomplish one's goal. It is a kind of motivation, I would say. So this term empowerment till date has been explicitly defined in many aspects, and we all have different interpretation, both in a situational form and in the contextual form, because we still live in a patriarchal society where women have to be subordinate to men, but still they try to have their higher esteem and try to felicitate their role as a decision maker in a lot of aspects of life now. If we speak about the diversification today, so diversification needs a support. We have numerous laws and legislation in practice which is actually supporting the women to create a strong leadership and break all the barriers today. For instance, if you talk about the policies, we have women empowerment incorporated well into the constitution of our India. which is effective from the year 1950. We have Article 14, which ensures the right to equality for women. We have Article 15, Clause 1, which tries to prohibit the gender discrimination. We also have Article 15, Clause 3, which tries to empower the state to take affirmative steps in favor of women. Okay, we have different legislations which are coming into practice. We have Equal Remuneration Act of 1976. We have Maternity Act of 1961. We also have the sexual harassment of women workplace. Okay, the most famous Vishaka case in 2013. And some of the specific laws are also sanctioned by the Indian Parliament to respect women's rights. Okay, and in the year 2001, the government of India has also launched numerous policy, the National Policy for Women Empowerment, which is the basic objective lies that you need to strengthen the legal system and eliminate all forms of discrimination, which is still rising and it's still there. Okay, nevertheless, I would say India has a long way when it comes to women exercising their fundamental rights and enjoying their freedom equally as men, because like today we are having this conference where all the women are discussing this is also a kind of freedom which we are enjoying today. And though our Constitution of India grants right both equally to men and women, but still there is gender disparity still lurks around in both urban as well as in rural areas. Now, I would like to just list few examples which we can actually compare still in urban and in rural areas where we still need to, work upon more. Like, for instance, selective abortion and female infanticide. It is one of the, that fatal sex determination is still happening at both places. Okay, sexual harassment. It is a form of sexual exploitation which can take place anywhere in the family members, neighbors, friends, relatives. Dowry and bride burning, we still have legislations for that. Even we have new criminal laws now which has taken place from 1st of July 2024. We can see that there are so many women protection laws still imbibed in CRPC, IPC, and evidence is supporting them. Why? Because these practices still exist. We have disparity in education. The previous speakers have actually mentioned it, that how rural areas need to function more with respect to education. Okay, we have domestic violence cases which are still going on. There are still practices of child marriage. There is inadequate nutrition facilities which is still not available, especially in the lower middle class and poor families. There is still, low status in the family. Some places women are still being considered inferior to women. Still we have a judgment with respect to the status of widows. So what I'm trying to say here is that though we consider women as the epitome of self-respect, esteemed personality, talented, efficiency, having that individuality, but what I'm trying to say is that every woman is facing the problem. Initially we had child marriage, sati pratha, parda system. Okay, these problems have now turned into a new problem. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that though empowerment is going in hand, okay, we do need empowerment because it is having a negative impact also on the society. Some group of men thinks that women empowerment is actually being used negatively by women. Okay, so that is the reason I want to say that why do we need women empowerment today? Because women still face the same problems. Only thing is the face of the problems have changed. Okay, still they are breaking all the barriers and coming out with so many examples, and still there are yet major areas to be focused on. Like, howsoever, I can definitely say that we have climbed a major ladder to change the impact of women in our society today, and we can see that women today has various roles to play. Women are the epitome of strength, love, and sacrifice and courage. Like I said, the role of women in today's world has changed significantly for better. They are now self-sufficient, well-aware, financially independent. They have attained immense success in every field, whether it's sports, politics, academics. Okay, with the encouragement of the co-education especially, women now are marching side by side with men in every walk of life. The 21st century has brought a new hope. Okay, and we can see the empowering of women has become more pertinent if women were well informed and educated. We can have numerous examples, like for example, if we start from the basic past, Mother Teresa, Indra Nooyi, Pratibha Patil, Kalpana Chawla. Okay, I can list lot more names who are very significant in their own sphere, and today we consider them as idol of every woman in India and across the globe. Okay, so the role of women has changed tremendously. They have been able to create a positive impression in the society, from the housewives to CEO. Now, once again, I would like to say, if you are playing the role of a housewife, it is also equally important to become a CEO of a company as well as to be the housewife, because there you are actually managing the entire house and here you are managing the entire company. So you should not discriminate that she is the housewife and she is the CEO. No, she is equally working for the modernization of the society. Okay, the latest technology have widened the scope. Now the women have established themselves both socially, politically, economically. Just now we heard the example of Avni Chaturvedi. Okay, she has set the perfect example and created a milestone of becoming India's first female fighter pilot. So we know that how things have changed for the women. Okay, now in order to take my discussion forward and in order to move towards a concluding state, I would also like to mention that there is one another side of the coin today, where the situation is where even I feel personally, when we see a lot of cases being registered on this matter, when the society talks about it, when the men talk about it, that yes, of course, women are trying to misuse the concept of women empowerment, where we all should understand that it is like the same ecosystem where we need to have a balance in leadership and breaking the barriers. If we are being provided with that kind of environment where we can actually break barriers and move ahead in life, we should actually take it positively and we should not take it negatively. Okay, that is one thing, because when we take it negatively, people sitting in front of us start judging us that, okay, see, ab isko power mil gaya hai, now she is trying to misuse it. Okay, and this is something which goes on and on when there is power and women involved. No one is going to judge a men for that. No man or no men is going to be judged for that, but women, yes, of course. And now the statistics, when it shows that yes, of course, women do register false cases in India. So this misuse of law by women in India is a serious issue and has been receiving increased attention in the recent years. In India, women are often discriminated against and are not provided with their equal rights and opportunities totally accepted. There is a gender bias in many aspects of life, but this gender bias is further exaggerated to the misuse of law by women where it is wrong. So there has to be a balance between both the things. There are numerous instances of women using the law to their advantage, expenses of men. And this practice not only is unethical but is unconstitutional as well. Our constitution itself explicitly provide the guarantee of gender equality. So what I believe, that rather than thinking about the discrimination stage, rather than just thinking that how we can misuse it, why not we can use these legislations with respect to marriage, education, employment and other areas in our well achievement. Okay, and when we are being given these kind of laws, we should not have a stigma coming in our nature, or a stigma should not be put on our character, that when they are being given power, when they are being given laws, they are actually trying to misuse it. So what my perspective is, that since every coin has two sides, no doubt empowering women is just not a matter of social justice. It is actually a kind of a very important aspect for achieve the sustainable development also, because by that we can create a more prosperous and inclusive work. And when women are empowered, they become the agents of change, driving economic growth towards a healthier communities, fostering innovative and creativity. Why I would say that? Because you will see that whenever there is a primary education system, we have women involved. This is also a question which comes in the competitive exam, that when you have the primary education system, why do we appoint women? We appoint women because we very well know that they can nurture those kids very well. They can give them a proper shape. So what I am trying to figure out here, and what I'm trying to say here, is that we have come across a long way where women empowerment and breaking their barriers and making their own space in this particular world has been actually recognized by a lot in the society in the more positive way. There are people, there are men who are still working for that. I would also say that yes, of course, there is still a long ladder to climb, because when we see the statistics, we can see that yes, of course, there are a lot of differences yet taking place. But there is something called conscious. So every woman should understand the true meaning of empowerment, and they should actually use in their life in the most positive way. Lastly, I would just, with I know there is time disparity going on. So I would just like to end up my discussion with a quote with a very relevant topic. Um, as women achieve power, the barriers will fall. And as society see what women can do, as women see what women can do, there will be more women out doing other things. So we all are there for the better for it, and we all should know that where and what to be achieved and where to be stopped. So women empowerment is obviously a very basic topic. Thank you once again as SK Associate to take this group. But at the same point of time, I would also request all the women to have that conscious and to have that balance to use this women empowerment in a more channelized form. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your speech, Shivangi. It was quite empowering and inspiring. Although I do also wish I were a woman, but still, again, we appreciate your speech, and I think Swati Kumari from our team will be connecting with you soon by tonight for discussing a collaboration we can have with you.
Sure, sure. Thank
Sonu,
you.
if you can just take it forward.
Thank you, Dr. Shivangi, once again. It was a wonderful speech. Please share your email address so any of our audience might have any question, can reach out to you directly.
Sure, I'll do that.
Thank you. Next, I would request Miss Niharika to commence her speech.
Thank you so much, SK Associates. It's been wonderful to really have you guys here along with me. So thank you so much. And to all the speakers, you all have been fantastic. Surprisingly, some were ready with a speech and a PPT. And I guess I am going to be extempore, because I am actually going to talk about things which probably are innated in us, but we are not driven enough to discover them. So when I'm talking about empowerment, entrepreneurship, barriers, let's break all of these three pillars very strongly. Entrepreneurship is a mindset. It has nothing to do with a gender. जब आप एक कुर्सी पे जाके बैठते हो और वहां पर काम शुरू करते हो, the chair does not know whether you are a male or a female. The chair understands authority, power, position, and what you execute and how it is going to impact. So that's one. Second, being a person who is in power of a lot of other details, a lot of other authority, barriers will be there, be it a male, be it a female. But for women, the task is a slightly difficult one, and the reason is it's very simple. The thing is that we women, being an entrepreneur, I can really vouch for it, we take every task very emotionally and very personally. We don't take a task to what we take it, ye kaise ho gaya? Why did I really not give my 100%? And we become our own victims of situations. And that's where the ball starts rolling. I guess somewhere down the line, it's high time we all understand that the limiting beliefs that we have been born, brought up, raised with need to really come down. I'm an entrepreneur. I do a lot of training interventions globally in India, US, UK, Dubai. And I have realized one thing, the problems are similar everywhere. But the thing is, nobody wants to talk about it. And on this note, I would really like to congratulate your team for bringing up these topics, because they are something which you have to talk about and tell people that entrepreneurship में आप तभी आओ जब आपको लगता है कि गिरोगे और फिर से खड़े होने की हिम्मत रखते हो. वरना entrepreneurship में मत आना, because entrepreneurship is not a one-time award-winning ceremony. Entrepreneurship is, you have to be a driver, you have to be a peon, you have to be the master, the CEO, wear your glass, step up on the stage and show the world who you are. And you're the same person who will be sitting at home crying and saying, why did I not grab this assignment? Anxiety is real. That's what entrepreneurship is all about. When it comes to women, I heard a lot of speakers talking about famous personalities. I don't have any personality, though I've worked with a lot of them. but I don't have any personality or any example to give all of you. You know, there is a reason for it. And I'm going to do a small exercise with everyone who's trying to listen to me. All right. Does any one of you have a mirror around or a mobile phone around or any reflection around you? If you can see yourself on the screen, are you able to see yourself on the screens? Then just try to look a little more closely. And I'm sure you'll find the entrepreneur and the inspiration. It's very important. You can be someone who people don't know you, but tomorrow people will know you because you've done something. So जब Indra Nooyi या your Kalpana Chawla and all of these people were doing their task, they did not knew they are going to be famous. They had something in them जिसको हम बोलते हैं हिंदी में जिद, जुगाड़ और लगन. अगर आप में ये तीन चीजें हैं तो आप entrepreneurship में कितने आगे निकल जाओगे ये शायद आप भी रियलाइज नहीं करोगे. एंड व्हेन यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट बैरियर्स, इट इज ऑल इन द माइंड. And all the speakers who spoke, I am very confident they are raised by very strong men, by excellent fathers and brothers who told them कि तुम करो क्या होगा worst. And anyone who's not been raised like a man like that, I refuse to give up because I've been raised and supported by a very strong man. He's my father. And I guess बचपन से जब हम बड़े होते हैं तब इंडिया में स्पेसिफिकली, एंड आई एम सो सॉरी टू बी बायस्ड, बट बोला जाता है कि बेटा डॉक्टर बनो, इंजीनियर बनो, लॉयर बनो, आर्किटेक्ट बनो या अब्रॉड चले जाओ. these are the some options that you have. Nobody talks about बेटा entrepreneurship करो, बेटा अपना बिजनेस खोलो. बेटा आप ना अगर entrepreneurship में 10 साल की मेहनत कर लोगे ना तो आप शायद और 400-500 फैमिलीज के लिए एक इनकम जनरेट कर सकते हो. We are not taught that. We are not conditioned with that. We are conditioned with getting a job, having a monthly income. It's not bad. Let me tell you, it is your choice. But understand and make it very, very clear to all the students and people who are listening to me. Getting a monthly income or getting a stable life is again a mindset thing. And this is the first principle of entrepreneurship and breaking barriers. Today, you might feel that you're not able to do an X thing because मेरी life में 1, 2, 3, 4 problems हैं. But tomorrow when you sit and you will realize that I overcame all these 4 problems. Where was the issue? The issue was here. It was not outside. When we do our trainings with a lot of CXOs and the founders and the directors and MDs of the organization and also blue collared workers, we realize one thing which is very common, and that is mindset. It is how you approach a problem. Do you see it as a problem or do you see it as a solution? Or do you see it as आपने Super Mario खेला होगा सबने, and I'm sure most of you might start laughing on it. There is a level. There is a level for everything, right? You jump, you get a coin. You jump, you get a golden jar. You don't jump, you have to start from square one. And that is what barriers are. Everyone is going through something and everyone is confused. That's the best part. If you feel the personalities that we spoke about, some of them I know personally, they are going through their own ups and downs. But they are not going to come and talk about it. They're going to talk about all the things that they've achieved and we will harp about it. But are we addressing the core issue? Are we really talking about that it's your approach, your decision making and your mindset that will make you the next level entrepreneur that you are? And entrepreneurship में तभी आना जब आपको लगे you can go against the world, care a shit about what people are thinking about you, and you are ready to create history. On this note, I would want to tell a small line which I heard from a very famous actress. Beautiful, cute-looking girls have never made history in their life. They've won beauty pageants. It's the bold, vivacious, and dare to do attitude women who have created history. You can talk about Jhansi Ki Rani. Right? So please don't, for people who are starting off, who are not very familiar with famous personalities, don't go out looking for role models. Your role models are in your house. You have your maid, you have your mother, you have your driver, you have your people who are showing up every single day. And even if you're working in an organization, the work that you do and the changes that you make to create that shift is an entrepreneurship approach. So get your horses up and realize that the barriers are going to be your limiting beliefs. Do away with them. Start your own journey without thinking that if I fail, तो क्या होगा? कुछ नहीं होगा. फिर से start करना पड़ेगा. You will either learn or You will either be successful. That's it. Failure is a mindset, it's a concept. All right. So, this is it from my end. And I hope this was really helpful to some who've been thinking about entrepreneurship as very glorified journey. No, it is not. It is dark, it's messy, and it's real. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I hope I've been within time.
Sure. You have been. Thank you. Although
Great.
that was a great
Thank you.
speech again, I would like to invite all the audience to put forth their questions, if any. You may simply raise your hands and ask. Yuvanshi, especially you. Yeah, we have a question from. Yeah, sure. All the edition, Niharika. Uh, Women in entrepreneurship are excellent, though I believe the Nair woman you mentioned, she came up from the professional corporate executive level to the top. So she's not exactly an entrepreneur, whereas an entrepreneur begins everything from the beginning. But still, that's a great example of woman empowerment again. So I guess no questions from you. No issues. I would like to request Niharika to just share your email ID in the chat box for our
I've
attendees.
done that. I've done
Sure.
that.
Thank you. That's a great addition. Thank you, Niharika, for being with us here today, and it was a wonderful speech. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and I hope that everybody gained some knowledge from this conference. So, just before we move ahead, I would like to request the HR team to share the certificate registration form in the chat box for all the participants and follow with it in the groups. Moving ahead, we are excited to announce that our upcoming conference will be held in August from 15th to 17th again in the same timings on the topic marketing and branding, building connections in business world. We hope to see you all there and engage in insightful discussion. Till then, we thank you all again from the deepest part of our hearts to stay with us for 3 consistent days. Give up all your contributions to this conference and attendees especially. We do understand that woman or man, it takes a lot of patience to sit throughout for 1.5 hours, and we appreciate your patience thoroughly. And we do try our best, and we keep trying our best to provide you with better quality of conferences every month. And we do look forward to reconnecting with all of you at our upcoming conference in May. To subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media handles to stay connected with us. The recordings of the conference shall be launched on our YouTube channel in 24 hours from now. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Take care.